everyone, it's Shar. Okay, I've never done one of these videos, but I've been thinking about doing that for a while. Just because I got The Sims 4 for the first time like 2 years ago. I vlogged something like 2,600 hours or something ridiculous. And I spent my own money on this pack, which is not shade to anyone. I just purchased all of these packs on my own for my own type of gameplay. I just want to let you know what was worth it and what was not. So we're just on Tier Maker. This is a pre-made template and we're going to go for it. So our tiers. At the top of the tier, we have our must-have pack. This is the pack I always use. I couldn't imagine not having it. It truly changed my game and made The Sims 4 a ton of fun to play. Then we have just fun to have. These are packs that add something interesting or change the game in big ways, but if I didn't have it, I would notice, I would miss it, but it's not something that I would be like, well, I'm not playing The Sims 4 if I don't have it. Then we have just pretty, not essential. Now, your girl loves aesthetic, okay? I love all things beautiful, but let's just admit there are packs out there that are beautiful, and that's about it. We'll see what those packs are. Then we have not great. This is a pack I have, honestly. It's something that I might use certain features of, but overall, not a pack I would recommend, or I would think like, oh yeah, absolutely, you should get this pack. It's more of up to your discretion as to whether or not you would want it. So I'll tell you what's good, what's bad, what I like about it, and what I don't. And then we have not even worth purchasing, because I don't actually own all of the DLC. I own most of the DLC, but not all of it. So things that I have and I would think, I wish I had my money back is what goes into this tier, but also just things that I know I'm not going to purchase this. So let's just get started. I'm going to tell you, we're just going to go in order of what I see and what I feel called to. Movie Hangout. That's going to immediately go into not even worth purchasing. We have TVs already. What does this add to the game but a popcorn machine and an ability for your Sims to watch movies? I could give two shits what my Sims are watching, okay? I'll just enlarge the TV. It didn't even come with like a movie theater lot trait, which by the way, there's a mod for that. But yeah, not even worth it. Not something that I would want. Then we have, let's go to the Moschino stuff. Moschino stuff, I would say, is just pretty. It's not essential. And here's why. Is that true? No. I'm going to say it's not great. Listen, I like the build mode stuff for Moschino stuff. I use it a lot. I also use the photography equipment a lot, even though I do have Get to Work. But I'm going to tell you, it barely functions. Like, the photography feature most of the time doesn't even work. Like, Sims will just bug out, glitch, not even realize they're being called to take a picture. The career that it came with doesn't work. So this is just a not great pack. It's something that you would get for build mode. And that's about it, because you can see from the cover that buy mode is also not that great. I don't know what Sim's wearing it, but they are definitely not wearing it. Let's stick with stuff packs to start with. Cool kitchen stuff, not even worth purchasing. Not something that I'm ever going to get. Yes, the feature of this is the ice cream machine, but if you want some cool kitchen stuff, girl, get some CC, because CC is really amazing. I can almost guarantee you that it is way better than whatever you get in this pack, and it's not something that I even bothered to look at, because I already know, not worth it, girl, not worth it. Then we have Nifty Knitting. I would say Nifty Knitting is just pretty. It's not essential, but it's a pack that's fun to play with. So it adds some gameplay that I personally do use. I like the knitting feature. I think it's really fun. I use the build and buy mode stuff a lot because it actually is a beautiful pack, but it's definitely not essential. Your Sims don't need to knit. I like the rocking chair, so this is more of a, it's up to your discretion. Do you want rocking chairs and knitting? Do you like build and buy mode stuff? Then I would say this is for you. If not, not an essential pack. It truly is not. Okay, what other stuff packs do we have? My First Pet stuff, we don't even need to talk about, okay? You don't need a hamster. Okay, you don't need anything in this pack. It comes with very few items. We don't need to talk about it. We all know it does not need to exist. Then we have luxury party stuff. This is one of their earlier stuff packs. Again, not worth it. If you want beautiful formal clothes, there's tons of CC for that. You will not even notice if you have this pack or you don't. And I did not purchase it, so that's my thought on it. Not even worth looking at. Kids room stuff. I would say I'm torn between not great and just pretty. I'm gonna say it's just pretty. And that's because there actually are some gameplay items here that your Sims kids could use, like the void critters, a bunch of like kids room decor stuff. I personally noticed in my game when I didn't have it, because kids outside of this pack don't get a lot of things to play with, okay? So having it in my game is fun, but it's definitely not essential. Like, yeah, void critters are in there, but I could count on one hand the number of times I use void critters, but I probably use kids room stuff a lot. If I ever have a Sims family that has kids, I use it for the build and buy mode stuff, just to make it seem like a child actually lives here and has things to do. Then we have perfect patio, not even worth purchasing. Again, did not look at this because the hot tub is something that was added to the base game. There are overlays for the hot tub. If you don't like the way it looks, you can just get an overlay for it completely for free, or you can choose to become a Patreon or to support the CC creator in another way if you want to give money to smaller creators and not necessarily to EA for this pack for $10. And same thing, there are amazing backyard patio CC things that are free or very low cost. I would say direct your money to the CC creator, not to EA for this, because it's not a pack that you need. Okay, then we have the Paranormal Stuff pack. I'm gonna put this all the way up at fun to have. Now, this is a matter of personal preference when it comes to gameplay, because I love Ghost, I love Haunted, anything. I watch ghost shows in my own time. I think this pack adds a fun dimension to Ghost. Ghosts come with the base game, but it's just a fun way to play for a haunted house, and if you like to torture your Sims, this is a great way to do it. So it's a fun pack to have. It's not something that I play all the time, but the build and buy mode is actually really, really great for this pack. I even like a lot of the creative sim items. So I would say if you like the paranormal, this is definitely a pack for you. Fitness stuff pack, I'm going to put this in not even worth purchasing. I'm not going to repeat myself. I didn't even bother to look at it. I don't care. The rock climbing wall is cool. Even if this pack was half off for only $5, I still would not purchase it. Vintage glamour, I'm going to put at not great. The only reason why it's not at even worth purchasing is because I like the build stuff. I actually use the buy mode stuff a lot. I like what it comes with. It also has a butler. I like the idea of the butler. It's fun to have for certain types of gameplay, but butlers don't always work really, really well. They're not super glitchy, but they're not the most fleshed out and fun they can be. Then we have Tiny Living. And I'm going to move Tiny Living to fun to have, because the Tiny Living houses actually have a lot of perks, like double the skill gains, double the relationship gains, improvements for your Sim's mood, and I really like the stuff that it comes with. Both the Create a Sim I think is exceptional, and the Build and Buy mode I think is exceptional. It's a really, really fun stuff pack to have. So if you were thinking, hey, should I get Tiny Living? If you want to have those perks in your game, if you want to have a different house type, and if you like the look of the Create a Sim and Build and Buy features, I would say it's definitely worth it. It's definitely a fun pack to have. Then we have Laundry Day. I'm going to put Laundry Day at not great. And that's because doing laundry is annoying in The Sims. The Create a Sim items are nice. The Build and Buy mode items are also really nice, but I don't like doing laundry in The Sims. It's theoretically a good pack. Like, if you like the idea of doing laundry, then this is a pack that's done really, really, really well. It does add essential features to the game. Like, you would be doing laundry if you want to play The Sims 4 in a realistic capacity, but laundry piles up so quickly. You'll have so much dirty laundry. It takes forever to do it, and it's just not for me, okay? It's not for me. It's not great because of that. Not because of the pack necessarily. This is a matter of my own opinion. Spooky stuff, not even worth purchasing. Yes, I love things all paranormal. Yes, I love Halloween. I can get CC Halloween decor, and Halloween decor is already in the game with seasons, I think. So not an essential item, not even worth purchasing. Then we have bowling night stuff. I'm going to put bowling night at not great. It's a fun pack to have. I do enjoy it. I like having bowling alleys in my game. It's something that I use pretty frequently. I like the build mode items. Create a Sim I rarely even look at. If I do, I don't notice. I don't care that much about it. But it's definitely not an essential. Bowling is something, it's not something you're going to use as often as you think. And overall, it's not amazing. It's forgettable. Most of the time I forget I have bowling night stuff unless I specifically think, oh, I'd like to go bowling. Backyard stuff. Backyard stuff goes into the same category as not even worth purchasing. I don't know what's in backyard stuff. I think it's a water slide and some other shit. I don't care. And therefore, I did not purchase it. And finally, we have romantic garden stuff, which I don't actually have, but it's not going to go into not worth purchasing. It's going to go into just pretty, not essential, because I've seen romantic garden stuff in a lot of other creators' builds. I think it looks like a beautiful pack, even so many years after its release. If it was ever on a super sale and I just had $5 extra to spend, I would probably get that pack. Not on 50% off sale. It's obviously $10, but the only reason I don't have it is because it's not essential. It's pretty. Yes, I'd love to have beautiful gardens and imagine I'm in a fairy tale, but it's not something I feel the need to spend my money on, nor is it something that I would recommend you spend your money on unless you are a hardcore builder. Okay, and I think the last stuff pack is the Toddler Stuff pack. I would say this is at not great. They're fun things. No, I'm going to put it at just pretty, not essential. Here's my thought process. If you don't have a Toddler Stuff pack, yes, you're going to have a few things come with other packs, especially later packs for toddlers. Earlier than like Eco Lifestyle, probably not. But after that, you do get a few things. But without Toddler Stuff pack, there aren't a lot of options for your toddlers to wear, nor are there a lot of options for really anything for your toddlers. I like some of the stuff that comes for toddlers with the Toddler Stuff pack, like the ball pit, which I know is controversial, but I like the ball pit. It's not the best item, but it's fun for my toddlers to play in. They have a little slide, they have toys and things like that, so I think it's a fun pack to have, but it's definitely not essential. You can get by, and toddlers get annoying after a certain amount of time, which you will age them up at that point. So not an essential pack. It's pretty, it adds certain features to it. I would notice if it was gone, but it's not something that I feel the need to have. Then we're gonna move on to our had to do like a massive amount of research. Yes, game packs. So you want the game packs. Okay, the first game pack we're going to look at is Jungle Adventure. I'm going to tell you right now, it is a must-have. You probably won't see that for a lot of these videos, but I think Jungle Adventure is a really, really fun world. I like the gameplay of it. People say the temples are all the same. That's not actually true. The temples do reset themselves. I've played through Jungle Adventure quite a bit, and the temples are not always the same. They do change. There's different adventures. I like going on vacations. The world of Selva Dorada is absolutely beautiful. I like some of the more cultural aspects that are added. I am personally Latina myself, and I like to see some of these aspects added into the game. Obviously, it's not referencing a specific culture, but I do like that there's the Latin pop radio station, the Latin radio station, some of the dance styles, the world itself, the digs, the clothing, the items. It adds more culture to my game, and I really, really love that pack. If I didn't have Jungle Adventure, I would 100% repurchase it again because I would notice that it was gone. I use Jungle Adventure build and buy mode stuff all the freaking time. I used to create a sim stuff, not all the freaking time because I use Alpha CC, but if I didn't use Alpha CC and I just wanted to have Jungle Adventure stuff in my game, if I wanted to tell a story, this is the pack I 100% use. Oh, look, my game is updated. So yeah, that is my must-have, like, game pack. I absolutely love it. Then we're going to have Realm of Magic. And Realm of Magic is going to be our first pack that I actually purchased, and I'm going to put in not even worth purchasing. I was really disappointed by this pack. I love magic. I absolutely love witches, wizards, anything magical. The pack and the world looked beautiful in theory. I played for about 5 seconds and got bored because spellcasters are not very fleshed out. And it's just not fun to play. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not fun to play. Yeah, build and buy mode items are fun, they're cute, but it's not something I reach for. Glimmer Book is really small, and the magical world, while pretty, is really That's about it. It's pretty. And I would say, oh, it could go in not just pretty, not essential, not even that. Like, I want my money back and I got this pack for half off. And now, in kind of the opposite to that, I would say let's move to vampires, which is actually fun to have. Again, I like occult sims. I think it's fun to play, and vampires are one of the most fleshed out occults in The Sims 4. If your sim is a vampire, there are real consequences and effects and gameplay and storylines for the vampire sims. Now, what puts this in not a must-have is not everyone likes occults, but also the build and buy mode items are fun and they definitely have their place, but it's definitely not essential. And the world of Forgotten Hollow is just really dark, and I don't play there that often because of how dark the lighting is. It's just very gloomy, which obviously vampires, that's the whole idea of it, but I wouldn't say this is a must-have. If I didn't have vampires in my games, I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I need to have vampires again. I would just think, it is what it is. But that said, it is a very fleshed out pack. Vampires are the best occult in The Sims 4, and it's definitely a fun pack to have, but again, not an essential. Then we move on to Strangerville. I'm going to put this at just pretty, not essential. The reason why I say that is because, again, if I was in the situation where I had a little bit of money to spend, I wanted a new Sims pack, and this pack was on sale, I would actually get it. And what influences me to say that is that I actually think the gameplay looks really fun. I think the world is beautiful. I miss not having the world in my game. And I just think it looks like a fun pack to play. I like some of the storylines and the idea. Why I don't have this pack is, one, when you start up the game, Sims are infected by the mother. I don't want my Sims walking around infected by the mother plant. Number two, and this is a criticism I hear from a lot of Simmers. Obviously, I don't have a say in this really because I don't have the pack, but I can see the point. It's something that you would play once and not want to play again, because once you solve the mystery of Strangerville, well, you solved it. The main reason I would want this pack is because I would want Strangerville. I just want that world. But I would say it's just pretty, not essential, unless you really love the idea of having this kind of gameplay. And even then, I would say it's probably a one and done type deal. Then we have Dine Out. This one is complicated. I'm going to put this at fun to have, although it should go in not great. The reason why it's in fun to have is because I take my Sims out to restaurants all the time. It's a real part of life. Think about what you do when you want to hang out with your friends. You might go out to eat, and I think that's a really fun element of the game. It's gotten better since it's come out, but Dine Out continues to be one of the buggiest packs in that sometimes it just doesn't work. Your sim will be sitting there for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and not even get their food. And for that reason, I would have put it in not great, but I think it is something that is really fun to have. If I didn't have restaurants in my game, I would definitely notice. I like building restaurants. I like creating my own custom menus. And I think overall it is almost an essential feature. What puts it at not an essential feature is the fact that some of the times it just doesn't work. I'm going to put Parenthood at just pretty not essential. Yes, it adds critical features to the game. Absolutely. The ability to parent your children is crucial. Your kids can go through phases. They can have moods. The things that you do to your children, the things that you do with your children and what you teach your children actually do have an impact on them and how they grow up. So your sim can max out their responsibility character value and grow up to be a responsible sim. Or they can have their value at the irresponsible range, and when they age up, they're going to be irresponsible, and that actually does affect your gameplay and how your sims actually move through their lives. That part of it is really great. The build and buy mode stuff is also really great. I'm actually going to move this up to fun to have now that I'm talking about it. Why it's not a must-have. It can get annoying after a while. And I think that there's so much that could have been added to this pack that just isn't there. So it just falls short in what I wanted to see, because it doesn't affect like generation style gameplay really. There aren't fun activities to include. Like I would have loved to see something like prom, homecoming, just general activities. If your sim had a baby, I would have loved to see some kind of events for that. It's about family gameplay, but really it's exactly what the pack says. It's about parenthood and how you raise your children. It's fun to have. I would notice if it was gone, but I wouldn't think I have to go out and repurchase this pack because my Sims game is not the same without it. If I did repurchase it, it would be for the build and buy mode stuff. Like, this one doesn't even come with its own world. Yet it is a game pack, so there's some inconsistency there. I don't know. It's fun to have. It's not an essential item. Then we have Spa Day. Here's my thoughts on Spa Day. I like it. I like the build and buy mode stuff. I like that it comes with saunas, yoga mats, the meditation stools, the massage tables, and then there's like the one for like your hands and feet. I think it adds really fun elements to the games for you to play with. I would notice it was gone because I use the yoga and meditation stool all the time for my Sims mindfulness and just general self-care, but it's not something you need to have. If you didn't have Spa Day and you didn't care about yoga or meditation or your Sims getting massages or going to the spa or having a sauna, then it doesn't really matter to you. But I think it's a good pack. I definitely have fun with it. Then we have Outdoor Retreat. I'm going to put this at just pretty, not essential. It's something that I definitely would want to have because I like the idea of having that world, and I like the idea of my Sims going camping, but I don't see the overall appeal of having this particular pack. I would get it if I wanted to complete the world, but it's not something I think that I need, and it just doesn't seem to add a lot of overall gameplay. I would put it in not great. The only reason it's not there is because I think it's actually a beautiful world, and I think it's very pretty. Journey to Batu. We don't even need to talk about that. It just goes, not even worth purchasing. Okay, now let's move on to our expansion packs. And I actually do have all of the expansion packs. I'm going to start with cats and dogs. This is going into not great. The cats and dogs are annoying. I wish we had more pets. The world of Brindleton Bay is absolutely stunning. The build and buy mode stuff is pretty good, but cats and dogs are irritating, and I don't like having them in the game. So I'm going to put that at not great. That's just my opinion of it. Then we have City Living. I'm going to move City Living up to must-have because I think it adds a lot of fun elements to the game. Things like festivals. The Romance Festival is really fun. I love GeekCon. I love the apartments of San Moschino. My Sims go to the city all the time, and it's one of the, if not the only, actual city that we have in The Sims 4. If you got this pack, you would definitely notice the changes to your game, going to the festival, being able to live in an apartment, some of the cultural aspects that were added to the game. The food system is really fun. It just adds a lot of really fun gameplay, and I use it all the time. Then we have Discover University, which is immediately going to go into not great. It's too long. Like, your Sim, I get the idea is that each week is a semester, right? And you go to university for 4 years. So there we go. It is, well, each week is a year. You go for 4 years. That's how you complete your degree. Sims do not live for that long. If you go to university and you have aging on, your Sim will be an adult or even an elder if you have short lifespan on, if you have this pack. Plus, it's mostly rabbit holes. Your Sim's always in class. You have a ton of homework. It's really, really stressful, and I would say it's too close to actual university to be fun and enjoyable. I would even venture to say, give me my money back because this pack isn't that fun. It makes sense for gameplay and storytelling purposes, but it truly isn't a fun pack to play, and whenever I think about playing it, I get stressed out. But also, what saves it from going to not even worth purchasing is that I agree that it is an essential item, and the Create a Sim items are actually really, really good. I even like some of the build and buy mode items. Not all of them, some of them. So that goes towards the bottom. Snowy Escape, that's gonna go to just pretty, not essential. It's a beautiful world. I love the idea of snowboarding and skating. I mentioned this in a previous video. This is more of a me thing. It's a snowy world. Everything is covered in snow, which means that a lot of the details do get lost. With that said, I love the build and buy mode items. I love the cultural aspects of the gameplay that actually were included into the game. I think it's a beautiful world. It's one of the best worlds that were made, and the lots are fantastic, obviously because they were created by game changers. It's definitely a fun pack to have, but you'll notice that it is lacking in some gameplay. It doesn't really change your overall game. It's fun things for your sim to do, but if you didn't have this pack, your life really wouldn't be that changed with how you play The Sims 4. It's fun, it's beautiful, it's not essential, and it's somewhat shallow in its gameplay. Then we have Eco Lifestyle. Eco Lifestyle is fun to have. It does change your entire game. Neighborhood action plans can create really fun situations for you to play with. Like the free love one is really fun just to see. It creates drama and storylines, and it's just fun to see how that functions in the game. It does actually have effects on your sim. Now, it can be annoying because even with it turned off, I believe sometimes it still happens. Like I have neighborhood action plans turned off in some of my save files and it still happens. You have to really care about being eco because the neighborhood action plan inspector comes around to your house and checks to see if it's in compliance. And if it isn't in compliance, your bills get increased in their pricing. So it does really change the overall gameplay. The world is kind of fun. It's not a world I play in all the time. I don't even remember the name of it, so that shows you how irrelevant it is to my life. But it does add some really game-changing features to your game, and I would say overall it's a pretty good pack. It's up to you whether or not you want it. It's definitely not a bad pack. You'll get a lot of gameplay out of it, depending on how you play. It can be annoying, but it's fun enough. Then we have Get Famous. This one goes to not great, which hurts my heart because it was one of the ones I was most excited to have. There's not enough to this pack. The way you get famous in this pack is to either be an influencer, so like a YouTuber, or to be an actor, an actress. That's not that fun. Like, yes, being an actor is fun for a set amount of time, but the sets eventually recycle themselves. The fame system can be hard to work with. It can be pretty hard to get famous. I like the emotion bomb aspect of it, like the quirks that you get if you are famous. That's really fun. But having celebrities in the game, yeah, that's really fun too. But I really wish there was some kind of like singing or band aspect to this gameplay. More often than not, I would want my sim to be a famous musician more than I would want them to be a famous actor. So this is where the game falls short for me. Also, the world of Del Sol Valley is really, 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 really small. Not somewhere I find myself wanting to visit all the time, although it is a beautiful world. I would say this is not great. I wouldn't give up this pack. I definitely would still want to keep it. There's definitely aspects that I play with, but it's not an essential item, and I wouldn't go out and recommend it to you unless you were desperate to have celebrities in your game. And even then, know that there are faults, right? Because I want to be a famous singer, and that's not an option for me in Get Famous. And yes, there's the entertainer career, but that is base game, I believe. And that's not fun to play. I want my sim to like play out music concerts and festivals and all this stuff, and I cannot do that. Okay, then we have seasons. And yes, I'm going to move seasons to must have. If you don't have seasons, then it is sunny and warm all day, every day in all of your worlds, unless you have a snowy escape. But if you do have season, it just adds interesting gameplay. It has the holiday system, the calendar system, which I literally use all the time. It's so useful. I love the weather changing. I love the build and buy mode items. The create a sim items are fun. Holiday systems, which I think I mentioned. It just adds more realism to your game and gives you the sense that time is actually passing and not that every day is the same. So I would say this is a must-have, definitely a pack you would want to get. Then we have Get Together. Get Together is going to go into fun to have. And what puts us into fun to have is Windenburg. Windenburg is a really beautiful world, like absolutely stunning world. One of the biggest worlds we have. It's really fun to play. You can have like the dancing skill, nightclubs, which actually make your nightclubs feel like nightclubs. There's lots of fun gameplay elements, like you can play cards, you can do the dartboard. I think the pool table is also there. It just adds more of a social aspect to your Sims 4 gameplay, which I think is really, really fun. The club system's also fun. It's useful if you don't feel like going out and actually meeting people and you just want to throw a bunch of people into a club and hang out and be together. That's a great way to play the game, and it is really fun. But I wouldn't put it at a must-have because I I would notice if it was gone, but I wouldn't be devastated if it was gone. I would just be like, okay, it is what it is. But it's definitely a pack I use really, really often. And I think that if you know what the features of Get Together are and you're drawn to that and you know you would use it, then something that you are going to use really often. It's definitely a fun pack to have, but not a requirement. Then we move on to island living, which is just pretty and not essential. The world of Sulani is stunning. One of the most beautiful worlds that I have seen. Just absolutely gorgeous. Love playing in Sulani. It's one of the only beach life elements we have. Your sim can suntan, they can snorkel, they can go on the jet ski. It's just a really nice and beautiful pack. And that's about it. Because outside of it, yeah, you have the whole storyline of cleaning up Sulani. That's going to get boring for you very quickly. And then also, I feel like some of the cultural aspects were lacking. There's not a lot of cultural elements to it where I feel like there could have been. And yes, there's mermaids. Mermaids are really shitty in this game pack. I'm just going to tell you that right now. If your sim is a mermaid, there is no consequences to you. You will barely notice. Outside of the fact they're going to say, must be near water. In which case, you can give them a bath. Yeah, it's pretty. And that's about it. And finally, we have Get to Work. I'm going to put this at a must-have because after a certain point, I really wanted to have more interactive work experiences. And if you have Get to Work, you can actually go with your sim to be a doctor or to be a detective or to be a scientist. And that's actually really, really fun gameplay. And as soon as I got the pack, there are so many storylines that came to my mind. I think it is a super fun pack to have for those interactive careers. It also has the retail system. So if you want to own your own business, you use Get to Work to do it. The build and buy mode items, I don't care for at all. And the create a sim items, I also don't care for, but that's because it's an older pack. Yeah, I would say it's a must-have item if you want to have interactive careers and if you want to have careers as essential as being a doctor. I think it's really a fun pack to have and something that I thought was definitely worth it. So this is the final arrangement of my pack. So this is what I think of all the Sims 4 packs. You can see a lot of stuff packs go to the bottom of the tier list. And I don't actually have that many must-have items. So remember, this is just a matter of personal opinion. Everyone's going to have their own opinion about the gameplay and what's worth it and what's not worth it and which packs they enjoyed. But I wanted to give you my opinion as someone who's played a lot of The Sims 4 and has spent all of her own money on these packs. So I hope you found it useful, and at the very least, I hope you found this entertaining. So thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you all in my next video. Bye, everyone!